And a lot of different bans hitting the board as we go into game number 4. The Kalista taken away from JackeyLove. The Braum taken out of contention as well. So we've effectively taken 2 AD carries off the board there. The Lucian pairing not going to be possible now either. And I'm curious as to what AL want to go for. They could still take the Lucian if they want, but they've hamstrung themselves with that really early Braum ban. Azir and Kiana still hit that ban table. We take them away from Shanks. Take the Kiana away on red side. And the question really is, okay, we've got Xin Zhao still open. Is that something that the junglers want to try and play for, or is that something that's going to see ban?
Some of the skirmishers we highlighted in the previous game are available for the taking. Now, anyone's legend immediately recognizing how big of a top gap that 369 has been able to leverage. They go for the Renekton early blind pick to give Flandre at least a little bit of safety in the top lane. But if top esports are just slamming a counter pick right away, I guess we'll have to wait and see what 369's ideal counter pick will be as top esports start eyeing the jungle pool and say to themselves, let's just guarantee a Jarvan for ourselves in this game.
Yeah, and they could take Talia here as well, right? If they wanted to, just make sure that they've got themselves a really nice mid lane pairing. Somebody gets locked in that Cataclysm. Well, unfortunately, then they just get shoved. They get killed probably on entrance. They don't have to take their top laner here if they don't want to, unless they want to hide what they're looking for on this third pick, which seems to be the case. The Jace locked in. It is a flex pick here. It's worth mentioning that if they find a good matchup in the mid lane, Creme could take this Jace into that mid lane. For AL, though, Xin Zhao most likely, just going to be locked in. One of the few bridging junglers that we still have left available. Obviously, we highlighted the Vi as a pick that could still exist, and the fact that Ziggs did not get banned by top esports this time round, in owing to them being on the blue side, in owing to them being on the red side, excuse me, does give hope. Is Ziggs again a champion that you can't have those big pop-off hyper carry performances on, but that you can still carry your team through with, and something that Hope has done very consistently on this pick.
Top esports taking their time on this last pick of the first round. With the Sylas lock-in, you get Dominus, you get Crescent Guard, you get Mega Inferno Bomb. Not necessarily game-warping ultimates, but they're pretty darn solid for creating space and giving yourself extra durability, at least for the first two, and then an extra nuke on top of it for the third ultimate. This should try and at least persuade anyone's legend to not give any other crucial ultimates over to top esports with their last two picks.
Yeah, and I think that Ezreal here is actually a pick that could very easily get picked up for Jackie. Looking at the amount of AD carries that have been banned away, you know, there's a vast quantity that we see removed in terms of the Fearless plus Kalista Misfortune hitting the ban table. Ezreal maybe comes in as that next line of protocol, but for top esports, they've got this poke composition already with the Jace locked in, so taking out that long range sustain definitely does make sense. Now for Jackie, things like Jhin, things like Zeri start to creep into the fold. I think Jhin may be the most likely of picks to just try and go blow for blow and try and extend how much damage you've got as you go into that ranged progression.
Top esports have another powerful engage tool on their side. Anyone's legend having to figure out which support pick they can lock in for themselves that would also not cause them the most pain and suffering in Creme being able to yoink away a powerful ultimate. And with the options we saw, it doesn't look too pretty. You're going to be giving over a pretty warping ultimate. Death Charge seems to be the call here for anyone's legend. Not ideal, but at the end of the day, you're going to need some type of guaranteed lockdown to help set up this Ziggs for that Mega Inferno Bomb nuke.
I wonder if they go for a... oh, no, I did not wonder if they go for one of these. I was thinking more like a Tristana or something like that, something AD in the mid lane, so that the Ziggs is the only magic damage in the composition, but it is Vigor getting locked in. Talk about big ultis to give over to a Sylas, Raafaa. How about the Primordial Burst?
It's a big gambit from Shanks. And I'm actually curious if he's ever played Vigor in his career before. I don't at least remember seeing it from him this year. I guess it might have been a long time, but for top esports, their last option is a Jhin. Now, knowing that there's a lot of damage already spread out from a majority of top esports' composition here, Everyone seems to be going forward. JackeyLove is in the ideal position to be unthreatened in the backline, just trying to throw out curtain call bullets and deadly flourishes to aid with the fight. I just want to point out, Roodood, in their prior series when JackeyLove was in a similar situation on the Jhin against BLG in their series, yeah, he was getting a lot of farm. He didn't rack up any deaths for a long time, but it seemed like it was really at the mercy of the rest of his team doing well and not necessarily a game that he had a lot of impact on.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of been the story for JackeyLove so far this series, I will say, as he sat, again, kind of as a passenger for this series, and that Hope actually has been doing pretty darn well for anyone's legend, maybe looking like he's going to be performing that little bit better in terms of these AD characters.
Coming down to the line here, this could be the last game of the series. Let's see if anyone's legend can bring it back, or if it is Top Esports advancing to the grand final here in Game 4 of our lower finals.
敌军还有30秒到达战场，碾碎。
I love this early maneuver from Top Esports. Not even sending 369 to do the ward in the bush, but sending the rest of the squad so that if there's any members from anyone's legend there waiting for them, 369 doesn't suffer any HP early on in the laning phase. They're doing everything they can. They have made such a great pivot in understanding that 369, for whatever reason, is showing up big in this lower finals against Flandre, and he has yet to really have a solid response, and now they're ready to give him pretty much the keys to the kingdom in what could be their series winning point.
And he's going to need to, they're going to need to make that happen. Already we see a little bit of a trade from Shanks there on the Vigor. Last time we played this was 2013 when he was on WE up against LGD. Went 8-0-8 in that game, Mark. So a pretty decent run of things in here if his last series is anything to go off. Obviously that was a good couple of years ago at this point, but still something to keep our eyes on. We don't see Vigor all that frequently, so the power of a Vigor in the early stages of the game, typically quite weak, but what you can do, especially versus a Sylas, is look to farm up your phenomenal evil. The way the Vigor passive works is if you land a spell onto an enemy, you gain a stack of AP. One single AP per spell, and you can see on the left-hand side how there's a little counter next to his teleport on the passive. That is the amount of AP that he has gained through this game. You also get stacks for last-hitting minions with Q. We do see an early trade already coming on through.
And Creme was able to sneak his way into that event horizon to continue the trade and putting even a bigger damper into Shanks' health bar. This is where Creme does stand very strong, able to get his Sylas, one of his signature picks ever since his come up with OMG back during his developmental days and his debut in the LPL. And now Top Esports putting a little bit of faith and trust into one of his signature comfort picks as we take a look. Shanks, he has not played the Vigor since 23 summer, but he's going to try and turn the script here in this game 4.
And again, a reminder for those maybe just tuning in now, seeing Top Esports on match point, a win here doesn't necessarily secure them a world's berth. They would still have to beat BLG and go for that automatic qualification spot. But for anyone's legend, if they can turn this series back around, it secures them as being the second seed, or at least the one of the top 2 seeds that goes to Worlds alongside BLG, as we do see Creme here in the mid lane forcing the flash out of Shanks. Already a heavy CS advantage being picked up. This whole series has been, honestly, more favoured for Creme in that mid lane. Game number 4 is no exception.
Things have been quite calm here on Summoner's Rift in our 4th game of the series, Roodood. A lot of the antes are being set up as we get a chance to continue looking at the current win rate for all these champions locked in. by the players. Top Esports slowly eking out an advantage in a couple of these solo lanes here. Flandre gonna have to be careful if Kanavi does make a visit on the top side, but most likely just trying to hover 369 so that he can safely push in this wave for a quick reset.
A lot of tension in the early game to this fourth match. AL knowing that a loss here means that they are resigned to the regional qualifier, to that double best-of series potentially that's going to be tricky for them to try and play around. Hong just literally sat on the ward. You can see Creme hovering the top side. There's that minion.
Good patience and reserve from Hong. Only commits the Q stun, not going for the crash down, as Shanks did have that event horizon giving him that extra bit of safety. But at some point, Shanks will not have his flash for another couple of minutes here. Top Esports trying to do everything they can to continue punishing that window, as now it is Kael forced to at least respond to the mid lane and give Shanks a relief in pressure.
And what I will say, as Hope just about able to push that wave under the turret, 369 will be able to hold it though. What I will say about this composition for anyone's legend is normally if you see these, infinitely scaling champions, we talk about their ability in the late game. And look at how well that makes the composition thrive. Vigar, I think for me, one of the champions that despite their infinite scaling actually really struggles as you move later and later into the game, because accessing the damage and being safe in order to do that is really tricky. Relatively, he's a short range mage. He's very mid-range in that way that he deals damage. The W is the large, big burst that comes through, but it's so easy to dodge, so difficult to try to land. And the event horizon, such a big cooldown as well, that once it's off cooldown, in the late game, teams are so frequently able to posture around it and to play sensibly, knowing that it's available and knowing that when it's down, Vigar becomes very, very vulnerable.
And anyone's legend just trying to do everything they can to protect him, especially during the next couple of minutes when that window is still punishable by Top Esports, who have, for a majority of the series, have had their way when it comes to the early game. Kanavi, at least 3 out of the 4 games so far, or 2 out of the 3 games we saw, had the better early game over Tarzan. This is a time where both Xin and J4 can get things done. You have a lot of powerful ganking tools and CC available pre-6. Obviously, that Cataclysm can warp some fights, especially on the targets that don't have a flash. And Kanavi, level 6, he's trying to think of going over the Raptor wall. There's still the timer here. Roodood sends it, Cataclysm right over the top, but Creme doesn't find the second cast of the upstun upduck for the chains, and Shanks keeps himself safe.
Yep, dodging out there. Really solid footwork from Shanks means that Creme, with a unfortunate miss there, loses out on an opportunity to find access to the flashless Vigar, and that's now the first Cataclysm from Kanavi used to ultimately no effect. Still sat on a ward there, so they know that this is an attempted play that is being made by Top Esports. And Shanks will be very happy. He's staved off the pressure, just a couple of seconds on his flash, and a flashless immobile mage in the mid lane is not going to be punished.
And even with a teleport burned, it's an unsealed spellbook from Kael, so not really a major advantage gained by Top Esports for that play. So now that Shanks has his flash back up, they're going to have a little bit of an advantage when it comes to being able to play more aggressively, try and bait or go Top Esports into looking for something similar. And the fact that they were prepared for that play gives me a little bit of inclination that anyone's legend wants to set up for another trap.
We'll call out just quickly as we head toward these grubs. This top lane has once again been ran by 369, up 20 CS. Dominus popped early though by Flandre.
Flandre's just trying to kill the wave as fast as possible. Here comes the rest of anyone's legend, and that is the signal for Top Esports to try and retreat. Creme gets snagged up here by the dredge line into the death charge. Big Inferno Bomb over the top. Creme is able to flash away from the sweet spot, but still in trouble. Kael flashing forward off the timer of his passive, coming back up, and it's first blood going over to Flandre's Renekton.
Flash route in from Kael, really solid to find the land as Shanks has gone the long way around here. Finds himself in the face of 3 people, but actually doing a pretty good job. He lands.
Oh! Hong got interrupted, was trying to look for the crash down over the wall, but gets pulled right back in. I don't know how the hell that happened, but it worked out anyway for the Pandas, and now they have 2 kills on the board.
A Q3 from Tarzan knocks him up out of the wall, pulls him back to the same side, and the primordial burst from Shanks, they're able to find a kill. Now, AL, can they get out?
Oh, Kanavi gets interrupted with a flag and drag thanks to Shanks' event horizon. Curtain call from JackeyLove might be able to find some stragglers. Tarzan getting body blocked by Kael, but it doesn't matter. Kanavi has the Cataclysm back up from cooldown, and they're able to get 2 kills back for themselves.
Yeah, AL are the fish, and Kanavi puts them in the barrel there with that Cataclysm, making sure JackeyLove can't really miss as, you know, little mana on Shanks, his ability to defend himself here, very, very neutralized. 2 for 1 in terms of grubs, 2 for 2 in terms of kills. So Top Esports able to equalize on that play. And they do make sure that, as far as all things go, this game contains and remains itself to be very, very neutral. A little bit of an interaction that I want to call out. If you're a fan of particularly Shorts content, I'll hold the point as Hope under a little bit of fire here. Creme able to make sure that there's a lot of damage going down onto Hope. If you're a fan of Shorts content, you may have seen this Chinese bot lane is ruining my games. It's the Vigor-Ziggs duo. You put them in the cage, and then the Ziggs W, you can push them into the cage without them voluntarily walking into it. So keep your eye out for that later on. If somebody's trapped in that baby cage, look how Hope looks to use the satchel charge. Frequently, he's a player who uses it pretty much exclusively for safety. But that's an offensive tool that it can be used for as in this match. We'll take a look at the replay of how all of this broke down. This is the start of this. This is first blood that went the way of anyone's legend. You'll see the timing here. Pretty good from Hope, waiting for that CC to come through. Being fortunately able to cheat that with the flash. And we extend this play a little bit further. Shanks, I think, wanting a little bit more from this. Maybe wisely so here. Tarzan procs 2 autos. Lance the Wind becomes lightning. I'm going to slow down my flow here. Gets over the wall. Knocks him up out of the wall with that Q3. Prepped on the Void Grubs, and the Primordial Burst takes Hong down.
The extension of the play becomes very exciting. As anyone's legend, they got the 2 grubs, but Top Esports recognizing that they can get something here, knowing that there are no more ultimate cooldowns, no more flashes available, and at least equalize some of the gold back into their pockets. Yes, they don't get a majority of the grubs, but they had the first dragon just a few minutes ago, and now they're prepping the second one of the game as Creme trying to gain priority through the bottom lane.
Yeah, gonna miss out on a couple of creeps, but he takes down some good HP off of Shanks there, and it maybe not the reason that they get the Drake, but certainly a contributing factor. Mega Inferno Bomb interrupts 369, procs the bone plating. Now Kael here.
369 has been here before for almost the entire series. Flandre pops the Dominus, the flash after 369's own summoner spell, and this time it is the cleanest dive we have seen from anyone's legend executing 369.
Remember, AL have got 2 Void Grubs and Ziggs, so this turret take is so heavily favored for anyone's legend. Maybe the fortification actually doing a good amount of work here. The extra member for anyone's legend. I mean, Kael sticking around, he's doing like 20 damage per auto attack. So he's just making life a lot harder, really, than anything else. The more people around a turret does mean the harder it is for you to take. You can see it's a lot easier with just the 2-man band and Hope able to reset those passive procs. Yes, it looks like Top Esports are ahead. Well, look at the proc from Hope. W goes up, and the turret take trade. It's just not fair.
Did you hear the crowd just go, "Aww"?
No.
Don't be fooled, guys. I know it looked close, and even I was getting baited by the attack speed buff you get from the Demacian Standard on Kanavi's Jarvan, but Ziggs diff when it comes to the Satchel Charge, just being able to execute towers at, what is it, at 20% HP threshold? 25%?
25 at rank 1, and it goes up to 35 by rank 5.
That is not balanced.
They should be moving Ziggs now down to the bot side. I look at the minimap. Hope is bot lane. Perfect. How much longer have we got on plates? A minute. He might be able to steal a plate away. But the way you play Ziggs is you move him around the map, you get him gold. And then he hopefully carries you through these team fights. So far, they've done a really good job at that. Blackfire Torch already picked up. Again, magical footwear, meaning that he's not having to pit stop on 1100 gold for boots. I think that for Ziggs in particular, getting those Sork shoes is actually really important. It can be a really good boost of damage. Whereas AD carry's not necessarily as reliant on Berserker boots if they can go for an attack speed item second. Nice to see as well that you get to keep your Vigor in the mid lane by moving the Ziggs around the side lanes to try and take those turrets. It gives the Vigor a safety haven of that mid lane tier 1 turret that he can fall back to and feel safe at for the large portion of this game.
And that movement of Ziggs is exactly the kind of pro diff you want to see in your own games if you're going to try Ziggs at your own hand. And if you want to get any tips, make sure to use the code LPL10 to save 10% on the next time you schedule a one-on-one with one of the current or former pros of the LTA, ERL, and the NACL. Maybe they can show you how to leverage up your own Ziggs turret destruction gameplay. As one of the things I also wanted to touch upon, Roodood, is the fact that normally when you go for double magic carries in your mid and AD carry, you feel pressed to have a consistent amount of physical damage from your other roles. Hong should be able to walk away safely. But top esports don't have any real tanks on their side. It's just Hong, and he's going to be on support economy, so anyone's legend are going to feel just great just having a multitude of bursts from the disposal of their 4th threat carries.
And as we do move into that late game, it's a question mark around how well can top esports execute on what is ultimately a dive composition here. You know, Jarvan and Silas have got to go through the cage, they've got to go through minefields, they've got to go through a present guard as well. It's not going to be really easy for top esports to find purchase in these team fights. I'm going to be reliant very heavily on looking at those unique angles. So we get to see Shanks already a part of starting up this Rift Herald. Looks like AL, the ones set for this, but Hope can start putting down these minefields. You can see the event horizon go down as well. Top esports do need to be very careful about how they approach this.
Event horizon goes down. Kanavi is temporarily locked down. The satchel charge does punt him at the end into the Mega Inferno bomb. Flandre tries to lead the charge, and Kanavi is vaporized. Now the rest of top esports have to fight their way through the rest of the Pandas. Hong and Creme isolated from the rest of their carries. Flandre about to get pulled, and JackeyLove bursts him down with the 4th bullet. Here comes the re-engage. Tarzan pushes them away with the pressing guard. Creme is forced to flash away. JackeyLove trying to see if he can find more bullets to put into the backs of anyone's legend as Tarzan is able to get away, but here comes the curtain call. Hunting for Tarzan in the back line. Shanks tries to body block it. Can he curve it like Messi? No! Top esports not able to find another one, and JackeyLove is exposed by Hope Six, and he still has a flash, and he gets over the wall back to safety. Hope Six comes shining through in game 4.
Oh my god, that fight was so long that the initial members that died have come back to life. JackeyLove goes down in the end, finds the short fuse just a little bit too dangerous, as Hope is able to take the 1v1 as an AD carry. A very, very close skirmish, but you're starting to see some of the pitfalls and some of the strengths of this AL composition. Count the amount of bombs that go wide, the Ws that don't quite land. This fight could have gone so much better had some of these crucial skill shots landed. Another W from Hope there. Another W from Shanks that doesn't quite manage to connect. We're seeing Flandre on this backside able to kite out for a little bit, but does go down. W from Shanks misses here. Hope, another bomb that just goes a little bit off over the top of Creme. Again, these spells that on these mages need to be landing aren't quite finding their marker.
But at the right moments, Roodood, he was able to eliminate some turrets. I definitely, watching back in the replay, there's a lot of skill shots that went wide, but now anyone's legend find themselves with a decent gold advantage over top esports as they are trying to stop the dragon stacking from continuing. Creme looks for Kael or Flandre first. Tarzan tries to follow up and bail out his top layer. Kanavi slams down the Cataclysm, forcing Flandre to flash away. Burning down into Ignite, and Creme finds him with the Upscon. Now looking for the Abduct here. Shane right on top of Shanks. He's isolated from the rest of anyone's legend. Tarzan in the middle in the thick of it, trying to sustain off the Thunder Sky. Hope and JackeyLove 1v1 me, bro, to the death in the Dragon Pit, and both go down to the fountain. Tarzan is the only survivor from the side of the Pandas, but top esports will be looking for the 3rd dragon of the game. But then again, Kanavi's not alive, so they don't feel confident in taking it.
Yeah, they can't push themselves to soul point with Tarzan just lurking around, and the HP bars are a little bit low. 369 would want to be the one doing the consistent DPS, but he could probably easily get picked off by Kanavi. Flandre here gets spotted out and he gets focused, targeted down. It looks like it's a bit of an overcommit from top esports here as a massive charade of damage comes down onto 369. But once the burst happens, there's not enough left in the tank. All of this AL composition is focused on burst. And the top side, this 1v1, we didn't get to see it on screen. JackeyLove flashes nothing, unfortunately, as it's actually a Q from Jackie in the last second that he's able to put down. The dancing grenade before the reload comes through finds him the kill. And a 1-for-1 on the top side, but a very one fight for top esports elsewhere as we go back to the Dragon mark, and it's take 2.
Rude, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Naruto Shippuden, but that was pretty much resembling the last fight between Naruto and Sasuke. Both of them just going down, taking each other in the last stand. But we are back to the Dragon Pit. Anyone's Legend are the first ones in control of this objective in Top Esports, trying to see if they can brute force their way through. But Kael looks to set up the Mega Inferno Bomb. Kanavi has to lock him down in the Cataclysm, but no one from Top Esports can follow up. Kael flashes away from the empowered Shock Blast, preserving his life, and Creme looking for the follow-up.
Important interaction. You can't dash out of the event horizon. You have to use a blink. So Jarvan, Flag, and Drag, you can't get out. Abscond or Duct, you're going to get stopped by that cage. Rel dismount, you're going to get caught by the cage. A really good utilization of the Kael and Shanks duo there, where they're able to put people in the cage, and as soon as they try to escape, they end up just getting stunned up on it anyway. And you can see all it needs is just one round of combos from Hope and Shanks for somebody to fall. Not a lot of magic resist to speak of currently on the Top Esports side. We've got a couple of pairs of Merc Treads knocking about, but outside of that, imagine 369 gets caught. He's going to get one rounded by the Vigor, one rounded by the Ziggs as well. And I like this item actually picked up by Shanks, a Crypt Bloom here. A little bit of an opportunity to give a heal over to his team if they can find that first pick.
Yeah, the healing is nothing like redemption, but being able to guarantee you're punching through some of the magic resistance.
Isn't it? Like, it's a team-wide triumph, which is always, you know, the amount of times you get triumph diff, it's crazy.
Sometimes it could be what gives you the winning edge in a crucial team fight. And for Anyone's Legend, they need as many winning edges as possible. Remember, they're the ones on the back foot in this game 4. 1-2 in series score. Top Esports, one Nexus falls in favor of them. They punch their ticket to grand finals, and Anyone's Legend, their chances of auto-qualifying to Worlds are left up to BLG and Top Esports to decide. But Anyone's Legend do not want to let fate be decided by the hands of another team. They want to be in control of their own destiny, and they're setting up for the Rift Herald now.
And in a series that we touted as the battle of these two junglers, it's been honestly a little bit of a muted performance. I think that Tarzan may be having one of his least standout series that we've seen from him so far. Moving around the map, constantly having a little bit of a CS advantage, but it's been really about 369 through this series in particular. The disparity that he's been able to generate in that top lane has been felt time and time again, and on this Jace, currently 1-1-5, may well be the case once more as we move into this mid-game. Top Esports almost dead even on gold, but it's Anyone's Legend using the setup of their composition. The fact that they can put Ziggs minefields down, they can put Event Horizons to cut off chokes. They're setting up first as they've started up the Atacon.
They are so confident in forcing this despite the gold being practically even. Top Esports waiting for their moment to get in through the Event Horizon. Magnet Storm is set by Han. Kanavi goes in 2k HP. Who's going to secure it? It's Kanavi! That steals the Atacon away! And they're starting to win the fight. They have a 4 versus 3 advantage. Tarzan, Shanks, and Hope are the only members left standing. Tarzan is about to pop the Rift Herald. Can he pull off some Tokyo Drift moments here? He goes back in with the 3-talent strike.
The bomb!
369 is blown up by Hope's bomb there. Rift Herald is popped. No one's gonna ride it, and the rest of Top Esports can be grateful that they've secured the major objective.
Yeah, they steal away the Atacon there. It's a 2-for-2 in the fight, as 3 members of each side able to limp away to safety, but you're starting to see the issues with this AL composition. Look at how AL are able to zone away 4 members by using the Event Horizon. The second that goes down, though, it gives a way in. Creme actually does a very good job at buying space, buying time. The Event Horizon falls, the minefield goes down, and all of a sudden the rest of Top Esports swarm on in. Cataclysm locks up 2. It's a massive fight from the Top Esports jungler, despite the fact that Kanavi, you know, doesn't find too much after the fact. He's able to do such a good job, and I think locking people up, getting them in the mixer with the Atacon as well. Looking at the Drake spawning in 90 seconds time mark, these team fights have been anything but one-sided. It's been critically close across the board. AL fighting for their lives in this series, but Top Esports, they're looking to send themselves to that grand final.
You said it best, Rude. Tarzan in probably his least impactful series of playoffs so far. It seems like he has been mostly absent and nowhere near the game-warping impact, the game-warping jungle gap he has been able to leverage against IG, JDG, to get here in the first place. And now everything is on the line for anyone's Legend star jungler to try and make space for this double wizard carry that he has in his backline that is so potent, but is not consistently finding the advantages that the Pandas need for a Game 5 Silver Screams.
We're going to trade these tier 1 turrets. Bot lane going to fall. It looks like Tarzan going to be the one to claim the majority of the gold there as Hope comes in to do what ZiggsW does best and take down those turrets. Creme, though, getting funneled a full 300 gold as he takes down that top lane tier 1 turret of his own fruition. 5 seconds on this dragon. AL, the ones with control over the river, the ones who have both cleared out this mid lane now, and really they should just look to rip this off spawn. TP available for Shanks if he wants to get there, but without the event horizon, their ability to contest this space definitely a lot lower than necessary.
JackeyLove no cleanse, but he still has the flash.
They're in onto
Keeps
Ziggs.
his distance. Kanavi sends it. Crescent Guard blocks any range damage. Mega Inferno Bomb doesn't hit anyone. JackeyLove goes for the back line and takes out the throat of Hope's Ziggs. There's no more bomb expert, and now he repositions the fight with the curtain call, sending bullets one after another. JackeyLove steps up forward. The regular season MVP gets slain. Tarzan and Shanks are able to hold their ground, and now Creme is on the retreat. Tries to get some HP back with the Kingslayer, but Han cannot bail him out. And despite the heroics of JackeyLove, it is still an anyone's Legend victory in the Dragon River.
Mark, it's a banger already here. Game number 4 is delivering. These fights are critically close at every single turn. It's one person stepping up and then another round of cooldowns comes through to turn the fight back around. You can even see off the back of this Creme trying to make the most of this. Kael has no flash. He can maybe summon a heal to get in range for a hook later on. But the tier 1 turret falls in favour of the Dragon. 2 Infernal Drakes now for anyone's Legend. And for a Vigor in particular, Mark, that is a massive boon for AL. The fact that they can get these Infernals is going to give them such a big boost. Kanavi, a massive heads-up play there. Uses his flag and drag to get over the satchel from Hope. And JackeyLove knows, no flash, no W, I'm killing this Ziggs. But they forgot about the second wizard in their roster. Shanks able to do enough work on the back line of here to be able to make this fight happen. Goes forward. I think Primordial Burst actually wasted here as Tarzan was right on top of JackeyLove. Maybe they could have used that to take down Creme off the backside of this. Even still, using those tools, saving those spells could be the difference maker in these team fights. Look at the items for the Wizards though. Double needlessly large rods in their back pockets. When those Rabadons get finished off, Mark, that's when these 2 carries go into overdrive.
In anyone's Legend's darkest hour, the game that could send them to the whims of a top esports BLG Grand Final, it is Shanks and Hope trying to do everything they can to step up. And the fact that when one mage falls, the other is still cleaning up the rest of top esports gives the hope needed for anyone's Legend to stay alive. 2 dragons apiece now at 27 minutes. Baron is on the table here, Rude. Time to do a quick inventory scan of where we are at for item completions and spikes.
Yeah, it's all about AL stalling now. They want to get those Rabadons before we find that next fight. Double large rod is the big takeaway. Creme probably wants to finish off his Zhonyas as well. JackeyLove not close to a completed item, so honestly, he's itching to fight right about now. Maybe we could argue that GA being picked up for Kanavi would be big. 369, could he finish that Warhammer? Maybe, but maybe even just getting lockets on our supports would be the next big ticket for these carries. Hope's Rabadons has now been finished. Shanks very close to finding that completion as well. He's recalling on the top side. He might just be able to go back and finish that off himself. But we spent a lot of time waiting around here, Raafaa. Maybe the Baron was the port of call 2 minutes ago, but actually, looking at the way that the Drake timer is slowly whittling its way down, could very well be the case that that next fight happens around the Dragon again.
Rude, Shanks has almost 300 stacks. Almost 700 AP, and he hasn't even finished the death cap yet.
He will hit 1,000 on this Rabadon's purchase. He will hit 1,000.
Oh my goodness. I hope the observers can get a confirmation, but I trust you. I trust your word. Flandre might be in trouble. One cast of the slice and dice, no flash available. It's a crash down and the CC chain from Hong trying to set up 369 for the execution. Kanavi trying to stall Kael from being able to save his top laner, but the Mega Inferno Bomb is what pushes 369 in the end. And anyone's legend come to the rescue of Flandre just in time.
A desperately needed distort or disruption there from AL. They keep their top laner alive, and yeah, it would have only been a pick. There's no neutral objectives that could have been easily accessed by top esports by claiming a pick down on that bot side, but this game is so close at every single juncture. We cannot be giving any single advantage over to either side, really, and just one small pick gives over all of the control on the map. Vigar checking in, actually only 892 AP. Not that Rabadon's boost would have done a lot more in terms of the percentage that the Rabadon's gives you, but every Q now gives him, you know, 2 AP if he kills 2 minions. I expect him to be able to really work his way through that. And one of the lesser known things about Vigar as well, his W is now on a short cooldown, a very, very short cooldown. Every 50 stacks of his passive, his W gets a 10% haircut on the cooldown.
Holy moly.
And it's multiplicative, it's not flat 10%. So it doesn't get to like a 0 cooldown, but even still, every 50 stacks, that Vigar W going down even slower.
Hong's in trouble. Mega Inferno Bomb from the skies! Top Esports lose out on their support for the next 33 seconds. And this could be the Panda's window to continue the chase. Kanavi knocked up by the Death Charge, forced to use the EQ fire. But Shanks set the Primordial Burst on his way out and sends him back to the shadows. Top Esports trying to fight out back against JackeyLove now, unleashing the curtain call, looking for a triple. Creme finishes off Shanks, looking for hope, gets the triple anyway. And even in Top Esports' darkest moment, it is JackeyLove that steps up and saves their game.
The JackeyLove MVP for the regular season finally comes home to roost. This entire series we've been waiting for him to step up, and it's when anyone's legend step too far forward, he does exactly that.
Top Esports looking to secure the Baron for themselves. There's no jungler, no smite on the side of anyone's legend, but no one can threaten them. Watch this replay again.
And Kanavi goes in. This is after Hong has already been picked. Flash forward from Shanks. Primordial Burst goes through. It follows him through the flag and drag. This is the execute power of a Vigar. But in a 5 versus 3, AL feel like, yes, they should be able to step forward, but they're dancing between 2 turrets here. Cream's able to pump out DPS on the side, and the carries get split from their front line, leaving Hope at the mercy of Creme, at the mercy of fourth shots. Fortunately, Flandre was able to get out to safety, but you can see how much Top Esports and how much it is to them. A deny of an Infernal, a little bit less here in terms of that power curve for anyone's legend, but even still, you can see how, with the gold being just a 2k advantage, Top Esports aren't comfortable to try and take these fights. They know that these mages are still a threat.
Yeah, they are not out of the woods yet. They are not that much closer to having an insane and game-defining advantage over anyone's legend, because the scaling of these 2 mages from Shanks and Hope are so terrifying, so threatening. But the fact that Top Esports are able to continue to maneuver themselves out of these scenarios gives just credence to how well this team has leveled up this year.
I want to take a look at JackeyLove's build path here. Importantly, more of Malmortius being picked up, so the MR very, very powerful. As caught in the cage, Hong again.
It's a Mega Inferno Bomb. Tarzan finishes off the kill, flashing
the
red.
taxi.
JackeyLove, he knows that he doesn't have any summoner spells. And just like that, JackeyLove was able to save the game last time, but no summoner spells this time means that he can't do anything except fall to Tarzan Xinjiao. Creme marks off Flandre and prevents him from getting into the fight, as Kanavi might be in no man's land, but able to flag drag away back to safety. Top Esports now without their bot lane for the next 40 seconds.
Yeah, they're looking to try and take some turrets in the mid lane here. That tier 1 turret is still standing strong. Hope is basing. He's got teleport to get back in here. And with that satchel, you can do some meaningful damage very, very quickly. Remember, mages do damage based on their ability power to those turrets. So expectation is that they'll be able to take down more than one, maybe a second one in that mid lane. But instead, they turn. Kanavi's able to bait them back and actually able to get only 1 turret. And the Baron buff keeps from AL getting anything more.
I'm gonna come in and try and reconnect to Discord real quick. We're getting Roboto Rude at the moment. We want you back in full strength as Anyone's Legend now taking up space on this bottom river. There's no real objectives to play for as Kanavi missed the EQ flag and drag, but no one from Anyone's Legend can really punish, but they're looking for the Mega Inferno Bomb setup. Creme forced to go into stasis right on top of the minefield. That's Anyone's Legend with another kill. And 50 seconds before Creme can come back from spawn. The Panda's gonna do everything they can to push with this advantage. They don't have the Baron buff on their side, so it's hard to get through the Baron empowered minions, but they don't care. They've got a Ziggs on their side. They can easily blow up the second tier turret. And there's still a couple of minutes and a half before we get another dragon spawning on the Rift.
The pick nature of the AL composition finally comes to bear as Creme does pay for face checking into this really lethal composition. Yes, he's able to use his stasis, and yes, he's even got the Banshees, right? He's got that Verdant Barrier, which is giving him that spell shield for the time being. Unfortunately, not quite proving to be enough to keep him out from danger there. It's a good time for him to have been picked, as far as they do go. There we go. Shanks there looking at the items. Finally has broken over to that 1000 AP threshold. 1060 now on the Vigor. The fabled 1000 AP one-shots is very much on the cards. Yes, and there's a lot of MR being picked up, but I don't think it's enough.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's just a certain point where he's going to be able to throw out Ws, and that is going to be effective poke. Almost similar to Nidalee Spears from Season 3 era, where you can throw so many spears, and as long as you hit the one, it's enough to force that player to recall or completely evacuate from the objective setup. And I imagine that if Anyone's Legend can protect their Vigor around these entrance points when they are walking in to contest that space, that is going to be the gameplay pattern for AL.
Yeah, the problem then comes from the fact that Vigor pressing W on you is pretty illegal. The fact that he needs a large amount of setup for that to happen, right? It's a short-range spell. You know, think like Varus auto attacks. It's that kind of range where you can cast the W and have it be effective. That on top of the fact that it's really tricky for it to land, for it to be hitting effectively, is not something that's all too possible. And you can see actually, you know, in this mid-game, we're funneling gold into Shanks. We're funneling our resources into making sure that he can continue to generate that AP. That Phenomenal Evil will go up into the late game, and one AP could be the difference, especially when there's so much MR being picked up by top esports. The ability to last hit a couple of creeps with a Q could be the difference between taking down a target and leaving them alive.
Hell, you could even save your Primordial Burst for another opponent if you can just one-shot an opponent with QW. Top esports taking their care in trying to find flank angles into this Dragon Pit.
This is soul for top esports if they can get it. AL obviously going to stop them. Mega Inferno Bomb was used. Is Redemption going to stop his recall? 369 is going to be delayed. That's just Dragon.
Yep.
A Mega Inferno Bomb from Hope and a Redemption from Kael, the only two tools that they needed to keep their Drakes at bay. Look at the items. Everybody on top esports is paying the respect except 369, and they are punishing him for it.
Look at the replay. Look at the picture-in-picture. 369 gets hit by one small bomb and the outer rim of the Mega Inferno Bomb, and that's what causes him to base there.
Yeah, and it's a well-predicted redemption from Kael as well, just expecting him to, you know, take a couple of steps, find a recall there. Absolutely renders top esports' ability to contest that Drake as nil. And again, you have to look at 369 now to say, you've been the person that steps up in this series so far, but in game number 4 it's actually him who, without that magic resist, you know, has been now forced back, means that they lose out on their ability to fight for that soul, as Tarzan and Kanavi going to come to blows in that top side tri-brush. Just to clear a side wave, Shanks is there, and he's got the support of Tarzan, and you know, we look at this composition for AL, no AD carries. You might think that means that you do Baron very slowly. I promise you, Shanks is dealing 1,000 damage on every W to that Baron. every 2 seconds at this point. I wish I could see the cooldown that W is, because he's got 8 rounds of 10% reduction. So it's going to be very, very low.
And the last time our producer checked, the base cooldown was 3.83 seconds, and that was, I want to say, 3 or 4 minutes ago, so it could even be shorter then. And because you have so much reliable damage coming from Shanks' Vygar to burn down the Baron, you can always save your minefield to ward off those entrance choke points. Hope, though, forced to flash away from Creme as he's getting aggressive.
He's dead.
Hope is blown up by Creme. He goes
it's
gold
all on Shanks.
Stasis, caught on the advent horizon. Hong tries to follow up, looking for Shanks next. It's got to be the second wizard that falls. JackeyLove unthreatened this time once again. Tarzan doing everything he can to give the world to his last mage in the back line, but Shanks is slain by Kanavi, and top Esports might have just done it. Tarzan falls next, and it's Flandre the last one standing. JackeyLove delivers on the promise he made at the end of Split 1 finals and marching to the victory of this series.
3-1, top Esports send AL packing. Their destiny is no longer in their hands, and top Esports with the minion wave by their side will sign, seal, and deliver their finals performance.
Top Esports topple the crown from the defending champions, where now an empty throne awaits for one between BLG and top. In the LPL. Obviously 369, a different archetype of player, more of the weak side king, has been able to pull out carry performances from time to time, but he's always been known as the rock, the mountain that remains unyielding and unbreakable so that top esports can play around other members, right? But Creme was the big question mark, and for him to create that play and set up his regular season MVP 80 carry in JackeyLove to knock them all down, pure cinema in the way for top esports to advance to grand finals for a rematch against BLG.
Yeah, and that rematch is one that you do not want to miss. It was a 5-game series that could have easily gone top esports' way the first time out. And hopefully for our grand finals tomorrow, we will see the exact same thing for top. The job's not done. This doesn't secure them anything other than a rematch. For AL, had they won this series, it would have been them going on to Worlds and being that second team to be known as a representative for the LPL. But this time now, it's top esports who can sign their own ticket to Worlds. It's done with a win tomorrow, and a grueling series up against BLG does await them. But with their destiny in their hands, AL now going to sit and watch with bated breath tomorrow and honestly hope that BLG can take the series.
Hang on. Did you just say you hope BLG can take the series?
That's what AL are wanting.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear that.
AL are sat there.
That's my bad. Yes, I agree. The Pandas, unfortunately for them, did not have the execution needed to be able to control destiny. And now their fate is in the hands of another team, of 2 teams in the grand final. I do want to go to the predictions, though, because a proper celebration is in order for my fellow co-caster on my right. Roodood, alongside Yanni and our wonderful stats wizard, Semyaz, were victorious and correct in their prediction of a 3-1 victory for top esports. I have to say, I take the L on the chin.
You didn't flip-flop, which is good.
Yeah,
no.
I committed, and I still think that if anyone's legend were performing a bit better, I don't know. Maybe I'm
like
coping.
5% better. 5%
yeah, just
better.
5% better. If they were, because the first 2 games of the series, at least when it came to the early game, it was just very, very uncharacteristic of anyone's legend, given the run they were making in the lower bracket. But Top Esports, not wasting a single moment to punish them. There's even moments in this game where anyone's legend were having the advantage, they were scaling on up, and they gave windows to Top Esports to punish where they could.
Yeah, I mean they're just different, and I think that for Top, again, we highlighted through the first couple of games that 369 was their MVP for them for a reason. And I like that in game number 3, we actually got to see the double duo of Kanavi and JackeyLove have their own marks. Kanavi stealing the Atacon, multiple massive cataclysms to set up for who I believe is going to get the MVP for this game in JackeyLove, to absolutely tear them to shreds. Like this fight in particular, you know, Jackie, he feels like he gets caught because he's hooked up by Kael here, but then he's able to turn the fight back around, able to more than easily distribute the damage that was necessary. And Flandre, without it being a part of it, really did cost them quite dearly. No front line there was a bit of an issue, but even still, JackeyLove has a massive fight there. A worthy victor, I'd like to think.